Don't cry out loud, keep it inside. Learn how to hide your feelings. Well, not anymore because Mars is stationed direct, so go on, cough it up. Hey Virgo, welcome back. So, how was your New Year celebrations? How was your holiday period? Did you feel refreshed? Did you feel that there was some peace and some harmony and some happiness? Did you feel frustration? Have you bought yourself a diary and you still haven't filled any of your appointments in yet? Have you made New Year's resolutions that you don't intend to keep? All of these things are perfectly normal and natural, and I will say aided and abetted by Mars retrograde and Mercury retrograde. We started this year with a tugging on the leash. And so all of this forward activation, all of this movement that we wished and willed and longed for to coincide with number 1 of January in the calendar maybe couldn't happen the way that we would have liked it to. So I say this to let you know that it's all right. You don't need to worry so much if you feel that you're already behind, because you're not. Let's face it. It's just another week. The good news is that Mars stationed direct on the 13th of January. And so when I look at your chart, I see that Gemini is in your 10th house, which is our career and our public self, our legacy. And so the potential aggravation that may have been felt for the longest time now, Mars has been retrograde since October, has been in Gemini since long before that. By the time they leave in March, it'll be 7 months of this frustration. So I say this because there's forward movement now. And so between now and March, there's going to be progress that I really feel for you in terms of your career, your public self, your legacy, how you're publicly perceived, what you're known for. The other great news is that Mercury stationed direct on the 19th of January, a week after Mars, and a couple of days before this lunation. So that will be a great, maybe, offer to get a bit creative, to start expressing yourself. I wonder if those two houses are related, your 10th and your 5th. Do you want to be known for your creative expression? Because now would be the time, and maybe at this moon too, would be a great time to, to start writing that wish list. Yeah, there's no need to put so much pressure on oneself as far as vision boards and Pinterest lists and all of that kind of stuff. It can be really motivating. It can also be really detrimental if you find that you've not achieved a certain thing by date. So the best thing to do when you're putting down those lists of inspo is don't date them. Don't worry about it. It'll happen when it happens. But let's focus in on Aquarius for the moment, Virgo. What when you think about Aquarius, what do you know of it? What's your understanding of the sign of Aquarius? We know that they're air, they're fixed air. So there's almost like it's like a I see like a cylinder of compressed air. I see a sort of like I see air mixed with technology in direct, short, sharp rhythm. There's something sort of industrial about Aquarius. There's something very intelligent and also very adept at problem solving. We can also be thankful for Aquarius for their humanitarian spirit as well. There's a great sense of responsibility and care for the group of us rather than the individual. I like this I like these principles for you, Virgo, in particular, because in your chart, if you're a Virgo rising, Aquarius rules your sixth house, which is where we enact rhythm, where we work and operate, and where we ritualize the day. There's all of those great sentiments about chopping the wood is sacred and brushing the teeth is sacred, and collecting the foraging is sacred. All of that kind of like those rhythmic things that we do throughout the day, and we find rhythm in. We enact a sense of ritual to maintain the momentum. So again, that sort of fixed air kind of principles coming through. Also, in the traditional sense, Virgo rules the sixth house. Virgo knows a thing or two about diligence, about repetition, about the sacredness, in a way, of the daily grind. So this is where the moon is, this is where the lunation's playing out. This is a space in life where we get to ask for some possible changes. So all of those things that I said about New Year's resolutions and that kind of thing, maybe at this lunation it might be a nice time for you to gently categorize what it is that you would like to see improve, maybe in your health as well, the body. The sixth house talks to the physical vessel. So you can understand that the physical vessel needs to be healthy and have everything it needs to be fed and fueled in order to enact the rhythm of the day, in order to get to the bare basics of running a tight ship. It's nice that Aquarius is there. I'm going to show you the Aquarian card. So the visual representation of Aquarius can be found in the star, which is the 17th card of the major secrets of the tarot. You can see that this individual is unabashed, has nothing to hide, knows a system really well, knows a rhythm, knows that they've been sent here to move the waters of love and life for thirsty humanity. There is something really kind of humanitarian about Aquarius. So I wonder how that shows up in your daily life. I wonder how that shows up in your relationship with other folks and how you consider your place in the group. I wonder what kind of work that you do. Are you a nurse? Are you a caretaker? That could be something that can signify Aquarius in the sixth. What I will say is that there's some other energy here. We have Venus and Saturn in a conjunction in Aquarius. Saturn is the outer limits, the boundaries, which I think work in a nice harmony in the sixth. It's good to have a boundary to that rhythm. Venus is spiritual love, pleasure, understanding. There's a sweetness to this coupling. It's almost like a massage. I said in another reading, I think it was. Massage is really great. Massage is a great idea, maybe for you, Virgo. That could be a great way to enact in ritual the astrology in your body. Treat yourself to a massage. If there's someone that can give you one and you can give them one back, that'd be a really sweet thing to do. I can see that there's going to be this, just looking at everything that's going on here, I really recognize that there's going to be a sense of like action station for you as the year goes by. We're sitting on the precipice of a whole series of dominoes that are about to topple over. All of the outer planets, so Jupiter through to Pluto, they're all shifting sign over the next 3 years. That's a big chapter over with a thud. The conceptual identities of these planets playing out in the particular signs that they're showing up in. One example is that Pluto in Capricorn. If we consider Capricorn as a signifier of hierarchy, there's the mountain goat and the sea goat. That's one way to kind of visualize the image of the goat with the mermaid tail. That's hierarchy. Mountain goat at the top, sea goat at the bottom. Pluto, the planet of disintegration and destruction and rebirth, is moving over the final critical degrees of Capricorn. So we're going to see some more systems crumble. We're going to see some more hierarchies topple over. And this could be conceptually in terms of the treatment of women in the workplace. This could be the reverence that the organized church is held in at present. You can see, maybe relate some of these different principles to what you can recognize going on in the world at the moment. That's Pluto energy. That's Pluto energy grinding through the last degrees of this hierarchical structure of Capricorn. I think it's in March of this year, Pluto is going to dip its toe into Aquarius. So it's going to be present in the sign of the collective consciousness and a sense of humanity, of cooperation. You can see here the signification of that movement is quite remarkable when considering what's going on in our current environment, in the current world that we're living in. That's the macro sort of understanding. That's the macro reading. And I don't say this to sort of put any kind of fear in you. I think it's actually going to be really positive, because not only is Pluto moving, also Neptune, also Jupiter, also Uranus, they're all shifting signs into something else. So this era of exorbitant oppression, of exorbitant hatred, is going to change. On the micro level for you, Virgo, I can see that you're going to become quite busy. That's what I have a real feeling of. I pulled you some intuitive tarot, and I got the 10 of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the 10 of Wands. That's a great significant trio right there. If we consider the 10 of Cups as this moment that you're in right now, I think when we think of the 10 of Cups, we can think Pisces, we can think your 7th house. That's the house of relationship. So there's a gentleness here. There's a contentment that is really felt in the 10 of Cups. A culmination of a romantic process, you might say. And that's not to say happy ever after the credits roll. We know that they don't. But in this moment, there's a sense of satisfaction, which is really lovely. Wheel of Fortune's here to turn the wheel. The beginning of a brand new cycle is going to happen for you, Virgo, and that's very obvious to me. That isn't to say that this is going to disintegrate at all. This is to say that the wands are going to really come into power here. Wands in the tarot are magic, are fire, that element in us that burns and burns and burns. And you can see 10 and 10, I mean, that's one extreme to the other. 10 wands can be a space of exhaustion. It's work, work, work. And so I don't know why I'm saying this, but I think that probably because it's like there's this new moon in Aquarius and the 6th to start it off, it actually might be a really great invitation to just, go to the doctor, get a head to toe, check everything out. How's the ticker? How's the, how's the everything? And get a grease and oil change. That's a good way to think about it. And really sort of relax into this idea of harmony in relationship, support in that sense, and look forward to a great deal of movement. I see this, Mars in the 10th is almost represented by this card here, it's kind of like, holy moly, action stations. So as I go on, Virgo, I'm going to be sort of like dropping little truth bomb, hint bombs about this astrology that's coming up, because I find it quite fascinating, and I found it to be a great symbol of hope amidst a, configuration of terror right now. I think that there's like trigger responses that may be experienced in the body as the new year ticks over, because we look back to the last new year periods and they did bring with it more news of terror, more news of unhappiness and horror, the horrors of the world. I look to the astrology over the next few years with a great deal of hope and a great deal of preparation that needs to be made now in order to go the distance. And I see on your chart that there is going to be a great deal of emphasis on your work, a great deal of emphasis on the way that you express yourself. Perhaps that Mercury moving forward now from the 19th is a great invitation for you to start consolidating some of these creative ideas, because they're going to have a relationship with your 10th house. They're going to have a relationship with your legacy. Yeah. It's nice to feel that there's a sense of ease in the 7th for you. Another conjunction in that 7th is the planet Neptune, which is the dreamer. Neptune's the one that has the magic wand, the romancer, the illusionist. Neptune allows us to dream and allows us to think positive, allows us to create with our mind. They're in conjunction, 1 degree apart, with Vesta. Vesta is the asteroid of the keeper of the sacred flame. The significations of Vesta is something that I'm learning about now. It's quite remarkable, quite beautiful imagery. These asteroids that were discovered between 1801 and 1807 hold a lot of significations that I look forward to getting deeper with you on. In tarot, I'm lining them up with the queens. And the Queen of Wands is Vesta. So in this relationship space, in this 7th house of collaboration, communication, love and care, it might be really nice to have a cohort as you prepare yourself for this next year. It might be really nice to have some sense of a Queen of Wands, or offer this sense of Queen of Wands energy to somebody else. We know the Vestal Virgins kept their virginity in honor of Vesta. We know that Virgo is a signification of the Virgin. Yes, sure. However, the principle of Vesta really holds that idea of being incredibly embodied and autonomous in oneself, to devote oneself to spiritual worship. There was the Vestal Virgins, there was also the rites of Vesta, where people enacted sex ritual. They came together, they used their sexuality as sacred worship. So I'd like to, again, I always like to do that with you, Virgo, to step away from this idea of chastity being virtuous, because that's an outdated, antiquated system. However, we are working with an antiquated system, so we have to reconcile this. And that's what the continued language, the continued sharing of this kind of work does, doesn't it? It updates it. So at this lunation, there's some sex magic in your 7th. Now, I don't want to speak out of turn. It's not up to me to tell you what to do, but it might be a lovely evening to consider that principle and consider that what you're about to achieve, what you're about to come up against, is a lot of fire. So you need that Vesta energy. You need that keeper of the sacred flame inside of you, working diligently so as not to burn out. That's your reading, Virgo. Welcome back. I hope that we can look forward to this next 12 months together. I've got so much to say. I just need to consolidate it and also wait for Mercury to station direct so I can make sense of it. But that's a story for another time. I'll be with you in 2 weeks for the full moon in Leo, okay? In the meantime, head to umaruby.com and book your birth chart reading session with me. I can't wait to meet you. Also head to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and throw some money in the tip jar. It's always received with such gratitude. I'll speak to you soon, Virgo. Take care. Bye.